What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and I'm back, baby. Here we are. It is the 12th day of May. Yes, I was on vacation. Yes, I was gone. No, I didn't die. I did not quit crypto. I've been around. I've just been having a good time with my family, eating a lot of good food and getting some sunlight, which is definitely nice. I normally do like to make at least one video, if not multiple videos, a day whenever I'm on vacation. But the last time we were on vacation, I feel like I got not distracted, but I was just enjoying the moment more. So I thought it was kind of lame that I was making videos. This time, I told you guys in advance, I'm probably not going to make videos. I brought my equipment with me and everything, my microphone, my computer, my phone, everything. Um, but no, I did not make any videos really while I was gone because we just had better things to do, man. We were relaxing, need a vacation. I make videos every damn day. Took a little bit of time off, and I think it was definitely a nice reprieve. Anyways, here we are. Enough about that. Let's get back into it. Okay, let's talk about this. It is the 12th day of May. Here we are, just shy of about $81,000, sitting here with roughly 11 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, my friends. Subscribe, and thank you all for being here. Where I last made a video on Bitcoin, I want to say we were somewhere around here, and I was bearish. I was taking the bearish stance. And really, from this point here, I think we might have been momentarily bullish at these lows. We were expecting a lower drop, though. We were expecting that we'd go below 74K. We moved up a little bit. I was not expecting that we'd get a above this high, a higher high, but we did get above that high. We did get a higher high, and I have since changed my trajectory. I do believe that we're going to go lower still. I very much do believe that we are going to go back below 74K, below 70K, and ultimately, I do believe we are still in a bear market and will see prices below this low as well. But from this area, perhaps we have a little bit more growth to go. If we're looking at this from a relative fib extension here, from a high to a low, relative to this pivot here, this very significant pivot here in, what is that, in March, yeah, the middle of March to the end of March, we have come up and found resistance at our 1272 double top there. We broke through it on the third attempt, and now we're finding support at the 1272. The statistical probability, my friends, that we go up to about 83.7K is greater from this point. We're basically smack dab in the middle, but we are closer to 79.3K. The probability that we see 83.7K or higher prices before going lower, below this line, below the 1272, the probability is greater right now because of what we're seeing, because of this positive structure overall. We flirted with the golden ratio, pumped through it, back tested the 786 for support. We've been slowly finding higher lows all the way through, and we found support here at the 1272, at prior resistance here, at prior resistance here, and being that the golden ratio is right here at 83.7K and how Bitcoin likes to interact with its golden ratio extensions and retracements, I can't help but imagine that that's where we're going to go, if not higher. We could go higher, and I want to talk about that too. I still am bearish. I still do believe overall, again, that in the context of this move, if we have higher to go, it's not much higher. We are definitely at the ending limitations of this move, of this endeavor, but we can go higher. We can absolutely go even above 83K, even above 85K, all the way up to 88, 92K, maybe higher than that. It is completely possible. However, we look at this here, we look at this golden ratio, and where this point of resistance is right here with these lows. Right here, very close to this closing low point on a daily time frame, right there at the wicking low, and very close to this wicking low as well. Bitcoin with its golden ratio extensions, little fun fact for you, you can take this with you in your own analysis. It doesn't like to stop right there every single time. Sometimes we stop exactly at this, and maybe it's like a 50-50 chance. There are times where we do stop right at the golden ratio, but there's plenty of times that we've seen in Bitcoin's history that it actually wicks a little bit above the golden ratio. In my early days making this YouTube channel, I would say that we'd find direct resistance there, very like pinpoint accurate resistance there. That's what my calls would be for years. And we started to figure out that actually that's not always the case. There's a good bit of the time where we do wick a little bit above there. So it's not so much that we couldn't find resistance at 83.7K. It's just more that I would think of this as a range rather than an exact line. We might not go exactly here. Maybe that's exactly what we do, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got around 84K and maybe even above there before topping off. It is completely possible if you break the golden ratio that we have access, that we gain access to the secondary zone, which is the 1886 to the 2618. Now, I don't personally believe that we will get above the 2618. With the 2618, you do typically find direct resistance there. If not finding resistance just below, you typically find resistance instead of at the line and above it, like the golden ratio, you find at the line or below it with the 2618 in my experience. We can go through it. It is possible. But that would send us above 100K, and I don't think that we're going to see these money zone targets. I don't think that's what we're going to see. The 2618 here would be, completely opposite of the 1618, finding resistance at the bottom of this range. We'd be finding resistance at the top of this range, where prior points of support were, prior points of support back here, prior points of resistance there, and resistance there as well. It could happen. We could go that high, but I'm not forecasting that myself. We look at this here from a high to a low. Bring it down. Come on now. High to low. And that 2618 does intersect with our golden ratio retracement here. I personally don't believe that we get that high. I'm surprised that we've gotten as high as we are right now, but we can and likely do find resistance here at the bottom of the zone. The way that price typically interacts with prior consolidation ranges. You take the lows, you take the highs, right? Here's your consolidation range that you're in, and then once we broke out, we really started to move faster. You either find resistance right at the lower ends of the range, or you find resistance at the higher ends of the range. It's possible that you can find resistance in the middle of the range as well. That can happen, and maybe we do find resistance somewhere around 90K. Anywhere through that range, I guess, is acceptable, but typically you'd find resistance either somewhere in this zone or somewhere in this zone. So it's basically, the way that I'm looking at it, it's either 84 to 86K that we find resistance, or it's going to be well in the 90s. I'm personally not expecting this. I am more expecting this, but this is the path before us. It's something that we have to address. At this point, it's more obvious than it was at this point here, at least in my opinion. We are moving up still with low volume. I've heard people give their thoughts and theories on this low volume endeavor, and I've heard some people who I respect a lot, I have a lot of deep respect for, say that you don't need volume when you're moving up. And I don't think that's fair. I think that's true. You don't need volume when you're moving up. But typically, whenever you continue to move up, when you persist moving up like this and volume continues to die off and you're getting sub-average volume, that typically ends in a very bad way. It doesn't end well, right? When the volume comes in, it's that selling pressure, and all that you worked for from this low point up here to this high point here that took months for you to form, it's evaporated in 2 weeks. Because when the volume actually does come in, it actually moves the price at a much faster pace. These are not voluptuous green movements here. Whenever we saw the bull market take place, we go back over here. I mean, it's quite the opposite, right? What took you so long to work your way down was evaporated very quickly. Whenever we started to move, the fast movements were to the upside. The slow movements were the consolidation in the phases down. When we're in the bear market back here, right? Is this? Yeah. This is it here. Same thing. Slow to the upside, but very fast to the downside. A little bit of volatility here. It's not that you can't move fast to the upside at times, but just look at the difference in the behavior, right? You don't get movements like this in a bull market. You really don't. Maybe for a day, maybe for a brief moment, flash crashes do happen. But I just don't. What we're seeing here, there's a complete lack, a complete absence of these bull market behavior moves. This is not how you move up in a bull market. This is how you move up in a bull market. You can see the difference here, right? There's a lot of stuff going on here right now, you guys. There's some interesting things to go on. I don't want to get into all of it right now because, man, we could probably spend another hour just talking about Bitcoin today. I want to get into the short-term stuff and then zoom out to the long-term stuff, but there's some stuff that we're going to go over probably this week that could be very enticing to the idea of this being the low. Now, I'm not there. I personally don't believe that this is low. I very much do believe that we have lower to go. But the chances now that this low is the bear market low, the corrective low, whatever you want to call it, the chances from these price points that this is the low are much greater than they would have been if we rejected from this price point here. It's much, much greater. We're doing things differently than we did last bear cycle. But to be fair, the last bull cycle, we did things differently as well, and that did not end well. Anyways, getting into the short-term stuff, looking at the 1 hour time frame. I feel like I'm all over the place, man. It's my first video back. Cut me some slack. 1 hour time frame here. Very volatile, very ugly price action, very odd price action here. Looks like we're probably messing with people who are in heavily leveraged positions. Though if you are going long in these areas, it seems to be working out for you quite well. Same thing back here. If you went long over here, that seemed to work out for you quite well. If we're looking at this on the 1 hour time frame, volume is dying off. We're in this odd consolidation shape right here. Volume's dying off. We're probably going to see a breakout, and I would assume it is to the upside. We've bounced off the oversold zone here on the RSI. After rejecting the overbought zone here, you can see clear sign right there, rejecting the overbought zone sent us down here. We've now rejected the oversold zone. We've consistently gotten overbought, and we really are reluctant to get oversold over the past week or so now, even more than a week, really this whole month of May, even going back to late April there. We've been very, very bullish on the 1 hour RSI, and I'm going to take that bullish approach here. The stochastics look bullish here, and the MACD, it's kind of sloppy, but you get sloppy readings whenever you're choppy and sideways like this, so I'm not going to hold it against you, but you are below the zero. Typically, you wouldn't think this is bullish, but being on the 1 hour time frame, I'll give you a little bit of flexibility there. I do think we're going to move up, all that to say. I do think from here that we're moving up, and again, as I was saying in the beginning of the video, I think that we will see a 83.7K price, if not higher, before this move is officially over. I might not have flipped bullish right here, right? We were at these highs. I was bearish at these highs. We were right for a time, but I might not have flipped bullish until we were until we were well above these highs, until we were at like 82K. But I maintained that bullish stance even at these lows here. So even if I was bearish here, flipped bullish basically at the top, maintained that bullish stance here, maintaining it now. We were wrong for a little bit of time, but not much, right? I mean, genuinely in this overall perspective, being bearish from the highs here to that high there, we were wrong by like 4 to 5%. That's really not the end of the world, is it? Considering that this move was, well, a lot larger than 4 to 5%. We did pretty well before then. Nobody's perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect analyst. I will be wrong. I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. And that was one of those moments that we were wrong. But we maintained the bullish stance even here. And I mean, that was literally at these highs. So I feel like that's redeeming in itself. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. Looking at this on the 4 hour time frame here. The 4 hour RSI is just immensely bullish. One of the reasons I was bearish too was that we had this very identifiable, very, I feel like, solid downtrend in the RSI. And I was expecting here that we'd get oversold. But once we broke that trend and we started getting overbought again, I mean, that was basically where you had to call a spade a spade. We're getting higher highs, volumes coming in. It looks good, right? Typically, in these situations with these downtrends, you do go to the oversold zone. When I say typically, I mean like 80 to 90% of the time. But in these exceptionally bullish moments, you take your downtrend, you don't get oversold, and you break through, and you're actually getting overbought again. It's just this giant kind of sideways movement where you're consistently getting overbought and you're not getting oversold. This is one of the most bullish appearances that a 4 hour RSI could have. You know, maybe with the exception of seeing some higher readings, whatever. But it looks really good. And right now, we're actually maintaining higher lows, which looks pretty damn good considering that you've been overbought this long. I think there's more left in the tank is what the RSI is telling me here, and that just agrees with the idea that we do have higher to go. The stochastics are a bit weird. They're a bit funky at this level. There's bullish prospects with the fact that they're about to cross up, but you're not oversold yet. Typically, you like to be oversold before you officially reset. If not bouncing off the 50, we're neither oversold nor are we bouncing off the 50, but again, kind of weird, choppy sideways. And it's the 4 hour, the readings might not be as accurate. That's okay. Looking at this on the 4 hour MACD, MACD is very bullish as well. I'm a little bit disappointed with this move up, bouncing off the zero like this. You should have had a nice higher high come in. You did have a little bit of volume here, but it just did not persist. That's okay. We're gathering our bearings here. We're resetting ourselves and probably getting set up to move higher. I mean, overall, we look at the price action. It does seem as though you're maintaining this kind of higher low, lower high trend. Maybe it is some kind of funky looking wedge. I would expect, and I do expect, that we'll see prices to the upside. If not, again, if we are to go lower, I maintain the bullish stance until we're below 79.3K on a daily closing basis. We can wick below there. We could even get a lower low than this low that we formed a few days ago, or like a week ago. What was that? That was the 8th, so like 5 days ago. But as long as we're closing above 79.3K, in theory, this target to 83.7K to even 97.8K is alive. Again, this is the next suitable target range, really this area specifically, if we get above 83.7K on a multi-daily closing basis. But I'm sticking with the idea that we probably find resistance somewhere in this area rather than this upper area here. I don't think that we'll break 90K. I'm having a hard time imagining that we even get to like 87 to 89K, but I do accept that more as a possibility that really could happen. You know, something that is in this area where we found resistance before or support before, we could find resistance now. But I'm sticking with this 83.7 to 88.8K target area more specifically. On a broader scope, yes, it's a little bit larger of a range, but on a more specific note, this is the target area. We really could hit 84K, get just above this orange line, and then boom, then we drop 85K, 86K, and then we drop. If we look at the liquidation map here, the liquidation levels. Let's see. Log in. I did log in. I don't want to do this now though. Maybe it's because I haven't logged in a second to unlock full data. I just don't want to log in now because nobody needs to see my email. I don't know, like if I click that, if it's going to have the email automatically pulled up or anything like that. Yeah, it's going to take a second to load. That's okay. BTC USD on the daily time frame. Looking at this with our indicators, the RSI does have bearish divergence, but it is and it isn't bearish divergence, right? It is. I shouldn't say it isn't. It is. We have lower highs here, and we have higher highs in the price. You can see the higher highs there and the lower highs in the RSI. But that divergence has already played out. The last 2 days, this movement down, it's already played out. Now what we have is lower lows in the RSI with higher lows in the price. It's hidden bullish divergence is what that is. The stochastics are actually bullish too, hanging out in the overbought zone like this. Very, very bullish reading on the stochastics. And the MACD is bearish. There's actually some bearish appearances here on the MACD. You've got very solid bearish divergence, right? Lower highs throughout all of this, higher highs throughout all of this. The MACD is the one thing that's kind of contesting the idea that we move higher. But based on where we are in the price and where we are in the fibs, I'm sticking with the idea that we move higher. Again, that bullish connotation goes away completely. We're no longer expecting anything in this range if we close days below $79.3 thousand. We start closing below this low point here, these high points here. At that point, we will be bearish. Maybe we get a little bit shaken at the top, flip bullish at the wrong time, and then we flip bearish here whenever it's not the exact top, but whatever. We're still going to get the meat of this move down. It doesn't have to be perfect. We've been pretty good with this move up, messed up the top a little bit, and if we did top off here, whatever, man. It's not getting the whole enchilada that matters. You just got to get most of it. Got to get most of it, at least half of it. Make some money. That's what matters, right? $80.7 thousand now. We are moving down a little bit. The RSI, in my opinion, does look bullish. It does have a bullish aspect to it overall. But if we go below 79.3K on a daily closing basis, that's when things flip bearish, okay? Stochastics are bullish. MACD is bearish. But this can change too, guys. This really can change. If we start to build bullish momentum, if instead of declining like this, we start to see momentum getting above these levels here, if the histograms can actually get above this level here, that will look really, really bullish because you've taken this bearish kind of momentum that's building over the last month or so now, and you've erased it. If you can get a higher reading than this here in the MACD. I think a higher reading than this would look good, but really I think a higher reading than that would look really nice. And with that, maybe we do go above 90K. Maybe we do go above 88K, stuff like that. But I digress. I don't think I have anything else to say. I've said everything I need to say. We're at a point of serious resistance here. Prior support here could provide resistance as well. We look at this from a high to a low point here. We are above the 382. We have closed above the 382. And typically, in a situation like this, you either continue or you reverse. And 79.3K was a relative fib based off of this here from a high to a low, that 1272. But the 382 here at 79.7K is also important. If we close this week, if this week in the next 5 days and 11 hours closes below 79.7K, I will take the bearish stance as well, because closing above the 382 one week and then closing below it the next week typically promotes the idea that we go to the 236 here, if not lower. That this could be some type of a bull trap. And ultimately, I think this is just a giant bull trap and that we will be going lower. But we'll get to that whenever it's appropriate. Right now, I think it's totally appropriate to consider higher prices. 87K here at the 0.5 level, right there at these weekly closing points, right here at prior support, right here at prior resistance. I'm thinking somewhere between 84 and 88K is where we go. And again, on a more broad range, between 84 and basically like $100,000 is a possibility. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Looks like we're moving down a little bit. I want to look at the 1 hour one more time and just see. I mean, we are at that oversold area. We're rejecting the 40 level. We got 39 minutes left though. Let's see how this hour closes. It can definitely come back up by the end of it. We've got some big wicks here on the last couple hours. We can definitely come back up. But if we do go lower, if we get oversold, perhaps what we do is we break this trend here. It's like higher low trend, however people would want to draw it. Maybe we come down and we touch this trend line. But maybe we get just below this trend line here, something just below 80K, find support there, and then boom, then we move up. Still getting a higher low overall. People will be bearish because they think we're breaking this trend line, and we are breaking the trend line, but we still are upholding the higher low trend, and then from there we reverse. That's actually very typical. Yeah, I got nothing else, man. I'm just rambling at this point. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.